Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to have you join me here on Radio Melayu Per's newest segment, Perspectives, which is going to be on every Thursday at 8 p.m. I am Nirmala Arunaslam, your host for Perspectives. Now, why Perspectives, you may ask? What we aim to do is to bring you a range of topics every week, and we will be inviting guests who will share with us their point of view, their perspectives on the chosen topics. And not only that, we would like to invite you, our viewers, to join in our conversation, give us comments, ask questions for our guests, and we can participate together in the discussion. So, what we aim to do is to have a healthy, respectful discussion where we can all share our points of views on the chosen topic. So, I'm super excited to begin this journey with you on perspectives. And if you have any topics which you would like us to discuss in the future, please do share with us on our socials and we will try our best to bring it to you. You can also email us your suggestions, comments, or feedback at perspectives@rmplive.com.au. That is perspectives@rmplive.com.au. And for our first episode, I'm very happy to have with me here Shameema Kolia, President of the Muslim Women's Support Center, who will share with us the activities and events that the Muslim Women's Support Center does. And we will also be getting her insight and perspectives on certain related issues. In fact, I already have someone from the audience who have asked a question. So we will be getting Shameema's perspective on that. So please join me and welcome Shameema to Perspectives. Hi, Shameema. How are you?
Hi, Nirmala. Thank you to you and Radio Malayu for having me. It's very exciting, albeit a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'm really excited to be able to share my perspective and have the conversation with you, and especially being your first guest is a little bit, of a privilege.
Exciting.
Thank you very much. It is exciting.
Yes.
Absolutely, it is.
Thank you, yes, for joining us in Perspectives. So, from my understanding, the Muslim Women's Support Center was set up to provide services to support and empower Muslim women in Western Australia. Maybe you could give us a brief overview of what the center does and its purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Muslim Women Support Center was established 32 years ago, so just over 32 years ago. And over time, of course, it's developed and it's become many different things. But right now, as it stands, we provide any kind of support services or services that Muslim women in WA need. And that ranges from our food pantry, which people access every week, to what we called our little op shop, where people can donate items to, and families come and utilize those things. We have support services in terms of referrals to other agencies. We've got classes and workshops that we run. We do a lot of social events. We're running a leadership program right now. So we do a lot of different things. Whatever, I guess, a Muslim woman and her family might need, we try and provide.
Oh, that sounds really good. Awesome. So, when was this center established?
So it was established over 32 years ago.
Long time
Yeah, a
ago.
long time ago. To be honest, I can't even imagine what the Perth landscape looked like back then, right? So I migrated to Australia 21 years ago. And
So it was way before that. Even.
yeah, so it was established way before that. And I felt like when I had moved here, I came from South Africa. And I was like, where have I come to? And what is this place? Like, South Africa was so vibrant and busy, and we landed in WA. And we lived in Canning Vale, and I swear there were still horses and like no life.
Oh, was there at that time?
At that time,
wow.
Canning Vale looked completely different.
20 years ago.
That's exactly right. So lights went off at 5 o'clock, and I was like, where have I landed? And I was really depressed. It took me a very long time to just find my place here. And I ended up seeing something about an event that was held by Muslim women, and it was held at a hotel that I'd never heard of. And I went along to this. And it was my first, introduction to the Muslim Women Support Center. And they were already holding social events, and it was what they had as their annual formal, which still runs today, 21 years later, and was probably running from before that. But it was my introduction to an entire community of women who looked like me, and women who were doing remarkable things and had felt at home in Australia. And so the center, as a very young person who had come into this, felt like a home away from home. And I believe that that's why it was established. It was established to bring together, different women and bring them to a place that they felt safe, that they felt welcome, where they felt seen, and that they could call home, especially when they were feeling like they couldn't really find that.
Yeah, it must have been quite a big difference for you coming over here and seeing the difference. So you joined it soon after you moved here?
Yeah, well, it was 2 years in, and I was just a member at the time because it was like, oh, you hold on to anything that you could find. I was a member. I later became a volunteer, and then life took on different journeys, and I got involved in different things. And then I've always remained a volunteer. And then just over 2 years ago, I came in and decided to join the management committee. And I was elected as the president. And recently we've had an AGM and I continue in that role. So for the next 2 years at least.
Oh, okay. So you've been it for a couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen, the organization grow and change over time. And it's wonderful. At this year's annual formal, we actually had the founder, Sister Zelina Kennedy. She founded the organization and she came as a guest. And it was so wonderful to be able to see her and that vision that she had such a long time ago to go, we're going to need a place where Muslim women can belong, where they can come and lean on someone else, where they can come and socialize, where they can come if they needed something. And yeah, that vision is amazing.
For her to have come up with that idea 30 years ago, yeah, I think really visionary.
Totally, because I can't understand the landscape of what it looked like. And to have that vision, to put it together, and it's not a funded organization. So in actual fact, it's an organization that has worked with the community to be able to keep its doors open. At one stage, we used to be a funded organization. We used to get funds for being a settlement service. That stopped in 2008. So what we would get funds for was when newly arrived migrants had come in, we'd help them to settle. So it was part of a grant that we would get. But in 2008, that was stopped.
So when you say we receive funds, as in from the government?
From the government, absolutely.
But it stopped in 2008.
It stopped in 2008. Wow. And that was like, oh no. Yeah. And we did think that would mean that our doors would have to close. But it is through complete resilience and hard work and dedication of volunteers who went, no, this service is too important, because it was specialized. And so they went, no, we're going to do whatever it takes to keep this going. And they did. So I can't do the math, but 2008, so maybe 13 years. Yeah. 13 years later, our doors are still open. We still provide these services. And to be honest, it just keeps growing. So it's wonderful.
So I presume there's a really wide range of members.
Yeah, members from every different background. Diversity is really the key, from our management committee to our volunteers, to our members, and even our clients. I guess that is what we are in Australia, that diversity is everywhere. And so even within that group of Muslim women, the diversity still exists. And so people come from all different backgrounds.
And I think that diversity is really important, right? And it somehow or another helps to strengthen the bond, I would presume.
It's everything, right? We often joke about the diversities really can be seen in our food, because food is the cornerstone of our organization.
And everyone loves that.
And everyone loves that. Look,
and
it's something.
New things. Yeah.
Exactly. We connect on. I think we also show our love through that by feeding people. So, it's the joke that the diversity is on the table, but in actual fact, we learn from each other, right? We learn from our cultures. We learn even about our religion, which is really wonderful. Like, I grew up in South Africa knowing one way of practicing my religion and knowing things about my religion. And I only knew people who looked like me, believed what I believed, and did what I did. And so then to come into a country where you've got Muslims from all over the world, right? And their practice is different, and the way they is different. And there's so many aspects of it. I've learned so much. And so that diversity is so rich. But also, if we look at who we serve, and, we serve lots of different, whether it's our members, but in terms of our clients, we deal with some of the most vulnerable people who live within our community. And if we as an organization don't embrace the diversity and we don't reflect the diversity, then it's really will impact on that service that we give to our clients, because our clients are diverse. And so when we bring that experience together, then we can better provide, obviously, for our clients. And I think that's really important.
I think that would help open up people's minds to a broader range of things and give it a different perspective as well.
Absolutely. It's so important.
So is the center open to anyone? Anyone can join?
Anyone can join. You're most welcome to come and access our services. Our services, to be honest, is not limited just to Muslims. We have
So non-Muslims
people of
as well?
different faiths who also come and they access our food
Nice.
pantry and they access different services, but we are a specialized organization. So of course, the majority of our clients are Muslim, but you're most welcome to join and anything you need at the end of the day, we try and not ever say no and, turn people away.
That's good. So you mentioned food pantry. What do you provide in that sense?
Okay, so the food pantry is something because initially we were a settlement service. So it was people who had newly arrived in Australia, and obviously their needs were quite diverse. One of those needs is actually if you're just on Centrelink, and sometimes that's not enough money to just put food on the table. And so there was a growing need for people to access that. And so we started off initially with, food hampers, which were provided by different organizations. But over time, we realized that we really wanted to give our clients choice. It was important that we didn't just give them a hamper and go, here you go, here's some food. So we looked at how we could actually go, how do we kind of create a supermarket that's free, that people can actually come in and they have that autonomy to go, okay, today I want some tomato paste and I'm going to need some oil and I'm going to need these things. And so that's what we've done. You can see. Yeah, so we basically turned our garage into a food pantry.
Okay.
We also get fresh produce from Second Bite, which is associated with like Coles. And so on a Tuesday, our volunteers go and they pick up carloads of fresh produce, which we then distribute for families, and then they can access our food pantry. We also get donations of things like meat and other items as well. And from the community, we get a lot of stuff. So we try and do that and then give that to our families. So I think you could probably see on screen also, during Eid al-Adha, we've had families who've done their Qurban locally and then donated that meat. So I think all in all, we might have had about 60 or 70 lambs donated to us, which was really, really wonderful. And so we got to actually give our families, a good portion of meat that they could actually cook. And so that's what you're seeing on screen now, which is really lovely.
And so do the members have to apply to get the food donation?
Yes, so our members and our clients can overlap, but not generally. So with our clients, they do come in and they do an assessment. So initially, anyone who obviously comes in has access to food, but we do an assessment because food might be the thing that they've come in for today, but actually the needs can be quite complex. And so we do try and look at different ways in which we can do and help them, whether it's advocacy or referring them on to other agencies or services. However we can actually help them, we then do a client assessment and then put them regularly on our food pantry. So some families might only need to access it once a month just to top them up. Other families might need to access every week, depending on what's going on for them.
So just basically based on everyone's different needs.
Based on the needs, absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of it is from donations from other people. Is that basically how the center is funded? Because you mentioned sometimes there are government grants, but it's not common, especially now after 2008.
Yeah, so after 2008, when we lost our funding, to keep the doors open and to pay rent and do the things we did, we needed to obviously increase our membership. So people pay to be members of the organization, although that's quite nominal in terms of the funds that come in.
Like a yearly fee or something.
It's a yearly fee. But we hold lots of social events and fundraising events, and we get pledges from the community, and our volunteers go out and talk to people about what we do and ask them to support different programs. And we also work with different agencies. So you'll see that's a fundraising event. So that was a brunch that we had, and we hired our restaurant and we charged some fees for that. But, it's a lot of fun. It's a time where women can come together, time out, they relax, they have fun, we have lots of games, and it really is a wonderful atmosphere. But at the same time, an event like that can keep our doors open for another month.
So it's
that's what we need, right? And so we're always looking at how do we actually keep the doors open, because keeping the doors open means actually that we service a lot of people that are actually in need.
What other fundraising activities?
So things like, Pink Hijab Day is something that we do. So we do tend to have a lot of social functions. That's a really good way. It was. So we do it actually every year. I think there's another photo somewhere where the women actually made their pink ribbon in human form as well.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, you'll see different activities that we actually do. Sometimes it's morning tea at the office. So we have a coffee Thursdays now, every Thursday at the office, where we have a topic that we talk about. Today we talked about anxiety and depression and how we tackle that. And so it's some information, but it's a chance for women to actually come and talk to other people and get access to different services. But isolation is something that we're facing, I think, as a community. And COVID has actually done that even worse. We might not realize it in that we've been really lucky that we haven't been affected as much as the rest of the world.
Yes.
But in actual fact, it has had a huge impact on isolation. And so we try and do as many things as we can to engage people, because we find that they think of the center as that home away from home. It's a safe space. And so instead of going somewhere else to access services, they might not actually do that. But the more we open our doors, the more we find that they will come because they feel comfortable.
Do you have like daily activities, or it depends on certain?
The office
schedule?
is open. Yeah, we do have, so we have certain things that are in place, but actually our office is open all the time. We were recently very lucky where Bunnings came out and they did our back garden, and they've done that up for us, and it's made it a really lovely little space for us, where women can actually come and they can
do gardening.
They can do gardening. So it's a herb garden, but it's also a chance to just sit there and have a cup of tea. Take a break. You can see the garden.
Okay.
They've
So
done a
that's the
really
garden.
wonderful job. But
very
it's a
nice.
functional space. It's therapeutic to be able to do the gardening. But if you just need some time out, and we have a lot of young mums that access our service, it's a lovely place to just come and someone will offer you a cup of tea and you can just go and sit there and have some time on your own. And if you want more activities, come into the office, and it's always a lot of noise. Oh, you can see our human they made the pink hijab. So like for breast cancer,
okay.
the ribbon, they formed it. So that was last year's
very
pink
nice.
hijab day. But it's good because it's educational, right? And we teach women about breast cancer and bringing that
Yes.
awareness. But it's a time that they can still come and connect, and they have fun in the games that they play, and it's really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you mentioned so people can access the services daily. So on average, would you say how many would come in every day?
Yeah, so on every day, it does depend on the day. Tuesday's our crazy day.
Oh, why Tuesday?
Because Tuesday's the day that we get our food from Second Bite.
Okay,
So we
that's
start
why.
really early, and it's really a buzz of activity. So every Tuesday, we see between 25 to 27 families.
Wow, 25 families.
Yeah, and our families generally are over 5 in a family, so we range from about 5 to 15 people in a family, to be honest. So
it's hundreds
it's
of people.
bigger families,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's a hive of activity. So Tuesday you just see people running and dashing.
Okay.
I feel like I don't see my team, like everyone's just moving.
They're just all in and out.
That's
in and out.
exactly
Yeah.
right. But on an average day, we can see maybe 6 or 7 people drop in. But then, of course, if there's a planned activity, we can see 20 to 30 women who come through the doors. Yeah.
So what are the services does the center offer? Because you mentioned you do classes, workshops as well.
So we do a lot of like workshops, whether it be parenting or topics that we get from the community that they want to see us address. We used to run English classes as well. So whenever there's the need for it, we did yoga. We've got different things. It just depends on the need. We try and actually do things
Is it
accordingly.
a weekly class or ad hoc
basis?
basis?
It's ad hoc basis, but some of those things will actually be weekly. And so we've got like Thursday mornings are weekly, and you know that you can always come in on a Thursday morning and there'll be some activity happening.
So presumably you would have a lot of regulars, I guess, coming to the
Absolutely.
center as well.
So we're afraid that our space is going to run small now that Thursdays are taking off and they're becoming more popular. But it's wonderful. That's what we want to see. We want to see an engaged audience, and we want to see them accessing the service.
It's nice when the community basically comes together.
Absolutely. It's so important.
So how many volunteers would you need to help run this center on a daily basis, as well as, generally?
Yes, so we have 15 permanent volunteers who
are there every day.
Who are there kind of in and out,
Wow.
but over the week there's about 15 of them that run the office. And then ad hoc, we probably have about 20 other volunteers who help with things like events or things that are more specialized. But our center is completely run by volunteers. No one gets paid for what they do. And so really, I believe our center is run on love. I know that sounds a little bit cliche, right? It sounds like all of those feelings, but it's true.
That's good.
Because it takes love, and it takes, that dedication to be able to get up every morning and go, I have 100 other things to do, but I'm going to leave that and I'm going to come to a center and do this work, and I'm not going to get paid for it, and I'm not going to get anything back from it. I mean, being there, I know that our volunteers get that satisfaction of being able to assist and help, and that's wonderful. But it takes that love and that connection and that real passion to be able to do it. And we've got volunteers who've been there for over 10 years.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I think passion, that's very
Right?
important
Like,
thing that you really
totally.
use that to do all
Absolutely.
all the different things. And I think at the end of the day, you get back something as well. Yeah,
You
that's what I
too.
find as well doing volunteer work.
It always is.
amazing. It's such an
yeah.
amazing feeling.
I feel like we get more sometimes than we give,
Exactly,
right?
from the
But
clients.
that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
And I think some of these volunteers have day jobs, like you have a day job as well. So
Yes.
you need to really balance
You
your
have
time
to
between both.
you have to balance it, and it makes it difficult to do, because I find that the more time I go to the center and the more things we do, the more things we realize that we need to do. And so I spend a lot of time there, much more than I need to, but I'm there anyway because, yeah,
It's all about your love and your
it
passion
is
for
absolutely,
it.
yeah.
We actually have some questions from the audience. Yeah, maybe we could take the question.
Yeah.
Oh, so what are some of the common issues faced by the women who come to the center?
Yeah, so we obviously see a lot of people who face food insecurity, because I think we've become known as the agency that if you need food, then we're the people you come to. Recently, we had a meeting with the Red Cross, and this lady was telling us they've also got a food program. But she said, some of the people accessing were like, we'd prefer to go to the Muslim Women's Support Center. Their food's better.
Oh, wow.
Which is really good, because that's not their main service. And that was really wonderful, because it was like, oh, yeah, people really appreciate what they're getting. So that's an important one. But we see a range of things: women facing homelessness and looking for houses. We obviously address things like family and domestic violence. That's something that's huge. Or people looking for some religious advice on how to get a divorce. So the range is pretty big. Of course, family and domestic violence is huge. Mental health, people are struggling with things like isolation and mental health issues, and wanting to know where they can. Maybe sometimes they don't recognize that that's what it actually is, but they know something's wrong. And so they come through our doors, and we have access to counselors and things like that. And so we're seeing the uptake of those services, especially addressing mental health and, access to our counselors, have really gone up.
So then you connect them to the appropriate services.
We connect them. That's one of the biggest things that we can do. Not being funded sometimes can be a limitation, but we're well connected with other services that are out there. And so what we do is then connect women on, and then still stay on their journey with them. So sometimes, someone might come in and they need legal advice, and so they won't know what to actually do. So we go with them, and a volunteer will actually accompany them or get in touch with the lawyer and take them on that journey, because then we're continuing to actually keep them feeling safe, but also empowering them with that knowledge of what they need to do, and then they flourish.
Yeah, I think sometimes they need that extra support and someone to hold their hand good,
For
or
sure.
else they might not go and just stay back. Yeah, so
Definitely. Yeah.
Just now you mentioned on domestic violence. I believe we have a video.
So last year we actually did a campaign. We actually had young people who came up with this. So we did a community consultation, and we went, what are some of the issues that are faced in the community? Similar to that question that was just asked by someone. So what is it that the community really wants? And so family and domestic violence actually came up in every consultation, from the youth right through to women to the imams. It came up as one of the biggest issues. Wow. And so we organized a little bit of a Shark Tank, and we put it out there and, gave people the opportunity to say, we have $600, come up with a project that can actually address family and domestic violence. And so a group of young people went, okay, we've got a project, and they pitched for it, and then people supported this idea. And it was called Break the Cycle. And you can have a look at the video, because this is one of the resources that came out of it. But they got together community leaders to actually take a stand and say, we say no. And that was so powerful, because I don't think we've ever seen that before. It's kind of that topic that just gets swept under the carpet. We all know it exists. But for these community leaders, for the imams, for the women in the community to come out, and even the youth, and go, no, we actually say no, was so powerful. And they also created a resource in terms of how women could access help and where to go with. So it was an entire thing that they did.
Yeah, I'm very surprised, like you said, every layer of the generation from youth to the
right through
women. Wow.
Because it affects everyone, doesn't it? Yeah. It affects young people. When they see that at home, it affects them. And it has, lasting consequences if we don't address it. And I think that the message is really clear that we don't want to sweep it under the carpet anymore, that we're aware of it. As a community, we want to address it and that we needed to make some changes. And I think that was a strong message.
Yeah, very critical issue.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have a look at
Yeah, that would be wonderful, actually.
I say no.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, those of you who think that by hitting your women folk are the best of people, you are indeed the worst of people.
Islam says no.
I say no.
Doing nothing is not an option.
We say no.
I say no.
We say no.
The most dangerous place for a woman is her home.
Our family says no.
I say no.
I say no.
Australian police get called out to a domestic violence matter every 2 minutes, 657 times a day, every year, in every type of household right across Australia.
Young people say no.
I say no.
I say no.
Together,
We say no.
The Muslim community is not immune from this. There is no excuse or justification whatsoever for violence or physical abuse.
I say no.
I say no.
We say no.
I say no.
I say no.
There is strength in asking for help. If you're worried about your actions or relationship, then please seek help. Help is available.
I say no.
I say no.
Islam says no.
I'm Shameema Kolia from the Muslim Women's Support Centre, and we call an end to family and domestic violence.
That is a very, very powerful video.
Yeah, I mean, I was very proud of them because, they came up with the concept, they saw it, they contacted, the sheikhs and the imams. And when they called it Break the Cycle, it was that defining moment of, they're looking for a name and they came up with that. And it was very powerful because that's what needs to happen, right? That we actually need to completely break the cycle and reset and restart. And if the youth have that in their minds, man, the future is different. And that's what we want. And if we can be a part of that in any small way, then we all need to kind of get behind that. And it's really important that that message gets out there.
It gives us a lot of hope that the youth are behind us. And
That's
they
right.
see that there is a need
That's
to it
right.
and we can change things and break the cycle.
That's exactly it.
And yeah, I mean, domestic violence is such an important issue. And
Yes.
towards the end of the month, there will be the 16 days of activism campaign.
Yes, of activism.
And we will definitely be touching on domestic
Beautiful.
violence. In fact, on 25th November is the International Day
Yes.
for elimination of violence against women. So we will definitely be bringing you a topic on that. So please do join us.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yes, we will.
Yeah. So actually, if the audience have any questions there, please feel free to ask Shameema. We'd love to converse with you as well. One of the questions that I had before this, so someone asked actually that they said that some people outside of Australia are of the opinion that it is difficult for Muslims to live here. What are your thoughts on it? Because they feel that it's a very different environment, I think, like what you said, and they find that there's difficulty and they hesitate to come here. So what do you think about that?
I think that experience is going to, in some ways, be different for everyone, right? Sometimes it's what you make of it, and sometimes there's some real issues in there. So for me, initially, it was hard to move here, but I don't think it was because I was a Muslim woman necessarily. It was just change, right?
Yeah.
Migration comes with its issues.
That's difficult for everyone.
It is, but also very shortly after I'd moved here as a young person, 9/11 happened. And all of a sudden, I was front and center. It changed everything. I was just someone going to uni and I was just a young girl who was doing that. And overnight, I became someone who was front and center, defined as a Muslim woman. And that did change things, you know. The entire political landscape changed. It was the John Howard years, and Muslim women were really front and center of everything. And there were a lot of people trying to engage with us, but there was also so much of misunderstandings about who we were. I'll never forget a press conference that John Howard was having where they invited, you know, leaders of the multicultural communities to come to it. And so we arrived at this place and, you know, we were waiting for about half an hour outside. It was so hot per summer. Eventually they let us in because he had arrived, and they were handing out water. And this woman who was one of, you know, working for him, I was standing with a bunch of other women. She comes to me and she's like, bottle of water in hand. Would you like some water?
So they assumed that you
The assumption, but it was
finished.
just, it was so
Assumptions,
comical because she
yeah.
just handed out water to everyone else. And I just kind of looked at her like, what? So obviously her assumption then was, I definitely don't understand. And so she was like making these, and I was
Sign
just like,
languages and everything.
and I was like, are you okay? And you could see the visible shock on her face that, oh wait, I can actually speak English. And also
They
like
speak it
human.
well.
Yeah. So you get those microaggressions and they've never really gone away. But there's also opportunity. And there's plenty of opportunity to engage, to be able to change minds and change hearts and change people's perception. I've been a part of Australia Deliberates, where they took a group of Muslims and non-Muslims, and they actually called it Muslims versus non-Muslims. I think this was in like 2005. And we went to Canberra, and they had a group of people who never interacted all weekend with Muslims, and they did surveys for us, you know, beforehand. And there was a group that then mixed with Muslims, and then we came together. And so the group that mixed with Muslims, their perceptions completely changed, right? Was the group who didn't mix with Muslims, their perceptions didn't change.
Were they intentionally separated?
It was
Oh,
intentional
okay.
because that was
Okay.
your control group
Okay.
to actually see. So they did exactly the same things as we did, but they were the control group. And so it just showed that human interaction and having a conversation changed minds, because at the end of the day, that's who we all were. We were all human beings. We all wanted the same things, and we started to have that understanding. And so your own perception and your own attitude can change everything. I am Australian. I might have been born in South Africa to parents or grandparents who came from India. I have different identities, but I am Australian. I feel at home here. It's part of who I am. And so we can get into the mindset of being othered and allowing ourselves to being othered, but I don't agree with that. So if people have that challenge of whether we fit into the Australian narrative of what an Australian looks like, actually that's their problem, not mine, because I'm Australian, and who can define that? I define myself as Australian. And so we make that experience, and we need to start making more of that experience for our children, to not put them in that mindset where they have to question where they actually fit in. As much as, you know, the media can sometimes do that and people can sometimes do that, we as communities need to rally around our children and make them feel very at home here, and understand that they are children that fit into different cultures. And that's actually okay. That's what strengthens them. They can have one, you know, foot here and one foot in South Africa and still be very much Australian and be comfortable in that identity. But it comes from us. So we can either strengthen those bonds of identity, and then our children can fit in anywhere in the world, right? Because home can't be defined. There's not a definition.
I think somehow or another we need to teach people out there to look past the color, the race, the religion,
That's
all
right.
that. Because, like you said, the mixture of colors, it just enriches people.
Absolutely. I'm so much better for it.
Exactly.
I love that,
I love culture,
it's
and I love the
same.
mixture of culture. And I
Absolutely.
love to learn more about other people's culture. So I think that's something we hope that everyone could reach there one
And
day.
we're privileged, to be honest, in Australia to be able to take from all of these cultures, right? We can go anywhere in the world. We can generally fit in with the food and the people, and we understand, or we know a couple of words of the language based on the fact that in Australia, there's all of these cultures that kind of come together. And that's wonderful. So yeah, I think that It's an advantage.
I really love it here. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty new here myself, but I love to see the blending of all the cultures.
Yeah.
And how we shouldn't not judge one another. Yep, and we're all human, as you said. We should all
In
be
our
able to get
religion,
along.
we were
Yeah.
told we were made from nations and tribes so that we can recognize each other. So, we talk about religion, and so we need to actually bring that a little bit more into our practice, because there's a lesson there for us. If it means that we were made and created this way to recognize each other, let's start doing more for that, because that's how I think we change the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So for those who might be still struggling in that, how would you suggest, or what do you think you would advise them for them to assimilate with the local culture here?
I think that you have to define your own culture. Sometimes, assimilation, what does that actually look like? It looks like what you're comfortable with. Take the best of everything and take the best of every experience, add it onto your back, and it just builds you up. That's all it actually is. So you don't have to look a particular way, or you don't have to do a certain thing to be able to fit in and assimilate. Come as you are and give the best of yourself, learn the best, keep taking it on. And that's part of a really good experience. I think so anyway.
Yeah. And to break down people's barriers of sometimes people have the fear of something. Yeah.
It's hard, but that takes work, right? It takes work on ourselves to be able to go, let's actually break down that fear. We put a lot into it, and it can be broken down, because sometimes it's just all here, right? It's all these thoughts of what will people think and what will they be like and things that we've heard, but you got to give it a go. You got to put yourself out there. And it takes hard work, but it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Yes, nothing is impossible.
That's right.
Yeah. So if someone out there is fearful, I think we need to do our part to encourage it and break down the barriers.
Definitely.
Basically.
Find a friend, take them with you, give it a go.
Anything's possible.
That's right.
So one of the things Muslim Women's Support Center does, like just now we were talking about diversity and all that, recently they had organized a diverse women's leadership program. And I think we actually have a question on that. Let's see the question from our audience. How was the diverse women's leadership program impacted the center and the participants?
So I think, we've worked with Alicia, who has done this. Alicia Curtis has run these leadership programs before, and we've worked with her in the past. And so we decided, okay, let's do another one of these, leadership programs, but let's, open it up. Let's put diverse women together and help them, with these skills.
Is this the first time for diverse women?
No, it's not.
Okay.
We've done it before. So it's happened before. It just wasn't called. It was called the Young Leaders
different
Program.
name.
It was called a different name. But this time we wanted people to know exactly who we were targeting and what we would, because I think it sends a message, right? I was excited about it because I did the program before, but I don't think I was a part of the program. I just couldn't imagine the actual impact of this program. So we've got two groups. We've got our Rising Stars and our Wise Women, and they're 25 and in each group. And
this is part of the program.
Yeah, this is part of the program. This is it has been life-changing, right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I am actually part of this diverse women leadership program. Yes, it has been amazing, and I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And to meet all these wonderful ladies who come from so many different backgrounds, honestly, it has just opened up my mind in so many different ways. And the things that Alicia has shared with us, and all the other panel speakers and all come.
Yeah.
I cannot summarize how much I've learned and gained out of it. And I would recommend it to anyone. And I'm so thankful to have been part of it. And so much more for me to learn, definitely.
I mean, we're just to be able to see that, from a Muslim Women's Support Center perspective, it's an honor to see you women going through this program and literally blossoming. I did an interview the other day about it, and I was like, it's like watching a time lapse on a plant. You know how it shoots up, but the time lapse goes in such a short. This is what it's been, and you guys are not even completely through the program, but it's seeing you just completely take on everything. And so if it's life-changing for you, so many lives get impacted by that. And so it's something that we want to continue to do as an organization, and a project that we're super, super proud of. Because I think that the leaders of tomorrow are right here. So yeah, congratulations to you guys.
It's been wonderful because I remember, as you said, when everyone started out, everyone was very timid.
I can't even compare you guys. Like,
Baby
it used to be
steps, and
quiet.
yeah.
Now it's almost impossible
can't
to
get
get everyone to
quiet.
keep
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah, and recently we had the public speaking, and to hear everyone's stories that
Oh,
was shared,
how
it
incredible was
so
that?
heartwarming. And
People who thought they would never ever get up in the public and speak, or even on that night walked through the door and said to me, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like, can I please not go? I'm like, no, you're going. You're going to do it. And then got up there. It's like,
I
who are
was
you?
amazed. Yeah, the
How were you
things that they
nervous
were
2 seconds
saying.
ago? And then amazing, blown away. Blown away.
Yep. And the stories that was shared, it was just also really great to hear what everyone has shared. And I think that's one thing that has allowed us to open up
Yes.
our own selves, where I think before this, everyone kept things to themselves.
Yeah.
But now there's that circle of trust, which I think is so important
So
as well.
important. And I think that that is who we are as an organization. The clients that come in feel exactly that. They feel like they can come as they are, because there's women there who understand them, who understand the experiences that they've gone through and that they feel comfortable with. And so it's a place where they can open up. And it's the same with, I think, with our members. And, you know, now you guys through this course, that's what we want. We want people to come as they are, right? And that's the beauty. And our religion tells us, come wherever you are, whoever you are, just come as you are, and then everything will open up and happen.
Yeah, I think we had a comment. Somebody mentioned that the Diverse Women Leadership Program is a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
So I think it's true for everyone who participates in
That's
it.
what we want. You know, that's exactly what we want. If we can make an impact, and it's all these little pieces of impact that all add up, and that's, yeah, really good.
And the program it was not only for Muslims, it's a mixture.
Absolutely.
And that's where we support one another
Yeah,
and bridge the gap.
totally. So we had diversity in age, race, religion, diversity in every way, really. And that's what we want. And so next year, the program will be run again. So
Hopefully
please
it'll be an
apply.
annual,
Yes,
or-
it is annual. So it will be next year and definitely in 2023. And we're hoping to just keep continuing it. Because if we can have 50 graduates like you guys every year, my God, the world's not ready for it.
I would definitely recommend it for anyone who is interested. Please do apply. It will totally change your life, and it's just totally amazing. I
Good.
can't express
I'm
it
so
enough.
glad to hear that. That's just wonderful.
Is this another?
Yeah, so during
initiative
COVID, we
here?
were really busy. You know, we, instead of people actually coming to access the pantry, we did home deliveries. So, you know, things like personal hygiene, obviously you can see the masks, food, everything went home with contactless delivery. So we were really, really busy during those short periods of lockdown that we were in. But safety came first, and we knew that our clients especially would need access to food, and we didn't want to stop that.
So
yeah.
apart from that, so the food pantry and for COVID and all that, what other services, additional or ad hoc services maybe sometimes?
Yeah, so there's different things, you know, keep in touch with our social media and our website. There's always opportunities for people to join. We have an open door policy. Come, you might have the next winning idea, like break the cycle. Come and get involved. We're open to working with people. We're open to having people on board. So yeah, check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram and also our website. And we'd love to have people be involved.
So that's the best way for those who need the support to get.
Yeah, for those
action,
people who need the support, or just walk in. You know, offices are open Monday to Thursday from 10 to 2:30. Walk in, come and have a chat, and we'll take it from there.
Do you have any final words for our audience out there? Let's see. if
No,
anyone has
thank
any
you
more
for, you know,
questions.
tuning in and
Yeah.
listening to us. Yeah, thank you very much. And you can go and check out our social media and maybe follow us. And if you haven't want to volunteer or get involved, yeah, hit us up.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Shameema,
you
for
for-
sharing all this wonderful information
It's a
with
pleasure.
our audience here, and to tell us about what the Muslim Women's Support Center does and all the activities and how wonderful they support the community so well.
Thank you
It
for
was a
having
pleasure
us.
having
And
you here.
congratulations on your first show. I think it was very well done.
Thank you. Hopefully everything was fine and the audience is all happy.
Give a thumbs up, everyone.
We hope the audience out there gained some very
I
insightful
hope so.
information from today's segment.
Yeah.
And we actually hope to bring more useful segments for you every week. So we thank you for joining us on Perspectives. Don't forget to tune in next week, next Thursday at 8 p.m. as we will be having another special guest with us, who is Dr. Aminah Ma, who she's the author of Watering the Roots, a 1, 2, 3 Parents Wellbeing Guide. And she will be sharing with us her experiences of making hard choices in life. And I think many of us have had to deal with hard choices in life. So she will be sharing with us her experiences, her perspectives, and how she had to deal with the many different curveballs that life threw at her. So don't forget to tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m. And until we meet again, good night and stay positive always.
Thanks for tuning in. Good
Thank you,
night.
Shameema.